You are holding something right now that is worth exactly nothing. Not metaphorically, not philosophically, literally, physically, chemically, nothing. A piece of cotton and linen blended paper. If you burned it, no one would care. If you found it on the ground, you would not pick it up unless it had a number printed on it. And yet, that number changes everything about your life. Where you live, what you eat, whether your kids go to college, whether you survive a hospital visit. So here's the question no one actually bothers to ask. Who decided that? Who looked at a piece of paper, or a gold coin, or a seashell, or a cigarette, and said, "This is money now"? And why did everyone else just agree? Because that is what happened. There was no vote, no natural law, no equation that proved it. The entire global financial system, every stock market, every bank, every mortgage you have ever received runs on an agreement, a shared fiction that everyone treats as fact. And the story of how that fiction became the most powerful force on Earth is stranger than most people realize. Let's go back. Not to ancient Greece, not to Rome, further back than that, because money did not start where most people think it did. For most of human history, people traded directly. You grew wheat, I made tools, we swapped. Simple. It worked until it did not. The problem was scaling. If you needed shoes but the shoemaker needed cloth and you had neither, you were stuck. Economists call this the problem of the double coincidence of wants. It sounds academic. It's actually just frustrating. So humans started looking for something everyone would accept in exchange. Something portable, something durable, something that did not rot or disappear. Different civilizations landed on different answers. The Aztecs used cacao beans. Parts of the Pacific Islands used giant stone rings, some of them weighing 4 tons. Papua New Guinea used shells. The Romans used salt. And yes, for a stretch of history, cigarettes functioned as currency inside certain prison systems and black markets, even in modern times. None of these things have intrinsic value. A cacao bean is just a seed. A stone ring is just a rock. The value exists only because the people using them agreed it existed. This is the first uncomfortable truth about money. It has never been about the object, it's always been about the agreement. Now, for a long time, societies tried to solve this problem by anchoring money to something real, something scarce, something you could point to and say, this has value because there is not much of it and people want it. Gold became the dominant answer. For centuries, currencies were backed by gold. $1 meant you could walk into a bank and trade it for a specific, measurable amount of the stuff. This is called the gold standard. It felt safe, it felt honest, it felt like money had a foundation. It did not last. Between 1944 and 1971, the United States ran something called the Bretton Woods system. After World War II, the dollar became the world's reserve currency, the one other countries used to settle international debts. And the deal was simple. Every dollar was convertible to gold at a fixed price, $35 per ounce. For a while, this worked, but the US started spending more than it had on wars, on social programs, on maintaining its position as the global economic anchor. Dollars multiplied, gold did not. By the late 60s, foreign governments started getting nervous. They began converting their dollars back into gold. And in 1971, President Nixon looked at the math, looked at the dwindling gold reserves, and made a decision that rewrote the rules of money entirely. He closed the gold window. No more conversions. The dollar was no longer backed by anything physical. This moment is called the Nixon Shock. Most people have never heard of it. It's arguably the most consequential financial decision in modern history. After 1971, the dollar became what is called fiat currency. Fiat is a Latin word meaning "let it be so." That is the entire foundation. Not gold, not silver, not any commodity. Just let it be so. The government declares it has value, and because the government also controls the legal system, the military, and the economy, no one argues. And here's where it gets genuinely strange. Because once you remove the physical anchor, money stops being a thing and becomes a relationship. A dollar is not an object with value, it's a promise, a claim, a social contract that says this is worth something because we all act as though it is worth something. The moment enough people stop acting that way, the money collapses. This is not theory, it has happened repeatedly. Hyperinflation in Weimar Germany in the 1920s, Zimbabwe in the 2000s, Venezuela recently. In each case, the currency did not lose value because someone stole the gold. It lost value because the agreement broke down. So now you might be asking, if money is just an agreement, why doesn't it work at all? Why doesn't the whole system just fall apart? The answer is power. Specifically, the power of the institutions that control the supply of money and the rules around it. Central banks like the Federal Reserve in the United States or the European Central Bank decide how much money exists. Not Congress, not elected officials in most cases, unelected economists sitting in quiet rooms deciding how much currency to print, how much to destroy, and at what interest rate to lend it into existence. When the Fed prints money, technically creates it digitally, it doesn't mail checks to your house. It purchases financial assets from banks, which then lend that money into the economy. The money flows upward first, to institutions, to asset owners, to people who already have money. By the time it reaches ordinary people, it has already inflated the price of homes, stocks, and investments that most people don't own. This is not a conspiracy, it's the mechanical outcome of how the system is designed. And it's why in every major economic crisis for the last 50 years, the people who owned assets before the crisis ended up richer afterward, and the people who didn't. So where does this leave us? Money is not a thing. It never was. It's a system, a set of rules built on trust, enforced by power, and constantly reshaped by the people who sit closest to the levers. The dollar is not worth something because of what it is made of. It's worth something because the United States has the largest economy, the most powerful military, and the deepest financial markets on Earth. And because enough of the world still believes that will remain true. But belief is not permanent. It never has been. The next time someone tells you money is real, that it's solid, that it's stable, that it's the natural order of things, remember this. Every single civilization that has ever existed has used a different version of it, and every single one of them at some point stopped working. The question is not whether this system is permanent. The question is what happens when the next one decides it is not.